We got a little bit of a draft special going on this week, and we're going to talk about the incoming rookie draft class. And we got our XCFL resident draft gurus in the house. Up first, we got Robert.
How's it going, guys?
We got I Higgy, the coach of the Broncos,
What's up, guys?
and we got the commish and draft champion of the XCFL. We got Nick.
What's up, fellas?
And we'll just go down and talk about the incoming rookies here. And up first, on your top 20 big board, we got Dalton Decker, the quarterback from Texas.
Is that Robert? Go ahead.
All right, I can definitely talk about this guy. He's number one on my big board. Certainly, Buffalo's not got a need for quarterback, but when we look at all the draft prospects, he's got the big arm, very accurate. He had an older brother that played in the NFL, Eric Decker, that was an all-around good athlete. This kid was a valedictorian at his high school, very smart, 6'4", 235 pounds. I think he's going to be the first X factor taken in our draft.
And
I would agree real quick just to throw something. I mean, 6'4", 235. It's the prototypical size for your franchise quarterback. I think this guy's gonna be up there with the big time guys we've seen drafted in the XCFL history at quarterback. It's gonna be a lot of pressure, especially if you can land this guy season one of what could be a 9-10 season cycle. I mean, you're gonna be sitting pretty.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you guys too. It's I think he's kind of a no-brainer as far as the QBs go. To the top one.
And the second quarterback on your top 20 and number 5 overall, we have Eli Pope from Auburn.
I'll go ahead and take Eli Pope. I think Pope is, if there wasn't Dalton Decker, Pope would be the guy we're talking about nonstop. Decker has a better arm. Pope's sitting there at 6'3", 235, an SEC quarterback from Auburn. I think he's a little mobile. He thrives under pressure. The SEC is no joke, as you'll see with a lot of these prospects we talk about. You'll see a lot of SEC schools in here. Pope's gonna be a good guy. It's just unfortunate that the rest of his career, it's not unfortunate. Maybe it's a little chip on his shoulder, but I think he's gonna have to go, neck and neck, get it compared to Dalton Decker from here on out. So it's gonna be tough sledding for Pope, but hopefully we'll see him go in the top, 5 to 10 picks, and he can make whoever took Decker kind of regret not taking him.
And the next guy, I kind of jump over the guy Mann had third there. This guy doesn't crack Rob's top 20, but I got Jared Phillips from UCF at 3. If you want to take that one, Higgy, kind of maybe a little bit like Jackson.
Yeah. Jared Phillips. Not quite, what Dalton Decker and Eli Pope are going to be. I think you could see him possibly. There's a handful of QB needy teams, and I think you could see him go possibly late first, early second. Doesn't have quite the measurables that Pope and Decker do with the 6'3", 6'4" height, and he's a little lighter. But like we were talking about earlier, he is, one of the higher rated improvisers, which could be a good thing this Madden. So I would expect to see him go late first, early second.
Especially
go ahead.
Especially, just if you hit X Factor on him and he coming from that improviser archetype, he might have something like Watson or Lamar, which would be insane.
Yeah, that would be huge.
He's just a little guy, man, 6'1", 230, but, USF's been putting out a lot of XCFL/NFL talent lately with their, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Phillips is up there. I would not if it was me, I would not have him as my third quarterback. I'm leaning Hudson Wheeler from Louisville, but that's just me based off preference for me. He's got the big arm, 6'3", 230. Phillips is just too small for my liking at quarterback. But it's gonna be a deep quarterback class, and like Higgy kind of pointed out, man. There's a lot of QB needy teams, and everyone is eager to get their hands on a quarterback within the first 2 seasons that they can kind of mold and build how they want. So
And then
Yep.
that basically covers Wheeler. And I had one guy I threw on there. He's way down there. He might be a little bit of a like a Boone type draft pick where he takes someone in the 7th and like turns them into a Pro Bowler quarterback. And I threw on Hudson McGee, 7th round projection with that A throw power, so you could probably get him pretty late in the draft.
From Oklahoma, yeah. I mean, 6'4". It's another big prototypical quarterback, man. That we got a lot of talent, and there's guys ahead of him too. I mean, it's going to be wild to see how many really go in the first round this year. Because I mean, if you got a shot to get your quarterback, you go ahead and grab him. So we could see him easily sneak up the boards. Who knows?
Yeah.
From there, we'll go to Robert with our first running back of the draft, Stephon Ellerby of Ohio.
Yeah, when it come to the Bobcats had a dual running back, and Everby, I know everybody kind of has him down as their number 3, but I actually rated him 18th on my big board, but my number 1 running back, 22 years old, 5'10", 210 pounds. He's the elusive back. He's the guy that's going to be kind of cutting the mold of like a LaShawn McCoy. He'll be able to run off tackle and do some good stuff for you. So I like him the best.
And Nick, if you want to talk about his teammate there, Kobe Connor from Ohio, who comes in 19 on the big board.
Yeah, Kobe Connor, these two are a nice duo in college, especially, Ohio doesn't put out much talent, but this year, man, they put out a lot of talent. Connor was the Tariq Cohen, if you will, of this backfield, 5'8", 197 pounds. He's a solid guy. But he's the receiving back. He's the guy who's going to catch all the passes. He kind of a little thunder and lightning combo with Ellerby and Connor. It all really will depend on team need. Who's going to get off the board first? I think. I do think Robert's right with Ellerby being the more complete back, and Connor's going to be kind of your prototypical third down scat back. But I mean, we've seen some scat backs do really well in the XFL. I mean, Tariq Cohen right now for the Bears is kicking butt. But it's Kobe Connor's going to hear his name called pretty early on, I think, because running back's a fun position to draft.
For sure. And if it's not already implied, how they do at the combine and on their pro days, definitely going to shake up the final rankings there.
And if one of those guys bust out a big 40, then they instantly move up the board.
I have him as my number 3 halfback. He didn't crack the top 20. The halfback Cole Whittington from Tennessee State. If you want to talk about him, Higgy.
Yeah, Cole. I've got him. I've actually got him higher on my board for the running backs. I would actually take him, first or second out of all the running backs. I like that he's a little taller, a little bigger than the other guys, but he's still got the elusiveness and good ball carrier vision. I'm really impressed with his stats, and I think he could be. You're going to see him fall, I think, because of the need at quarterback and pass rush. But I think we can see him go late in the first round.
Can we take a minute and just out of the top 10 running backs, the only major college that's produced one is Florida, and that's way down there with Luther Royster. But you got Boise, Kansas, Wake Forest, Western Michigan, Mount Union, Pitt, Ohio FU, Tennessee State. Is there anybody in the league from Tennessee State right now? No, I don't know. I don't know. It's just wild. But carry on, Gris. Go ahead.
Our last guy, if you want to take him, Rob, we got Denard Norwood out of Pitt, who kind of looks like Pitt halfbacks in the past, like Dion Lewis and Shady.
Yeah, Denard, he didn't make my top 20. I mean, he's got a good juke move. He is from Pitt. He is an elusive back. He's got that style of running. 5'8", 202 pounds. 23 years old. Again, that was one of the things when I was kind of going through here. That was my knock on the Cole Whittington, and it's kind of my knock on Denard just being at 23. But overall, the guy looks like a pretty good player, and he's definitely going to be gone by round 3.
And then going to a wide receiver and a guy you have 2 overall in the top 20, Kalen Dunlap out of Georgia.
You want me to take Kalen?
Yeah.
this guy is the 6'3" physical wide receiver. Grades out extremely high and being able to catch a ball in traffic. Good on release. From Georgia, SEC proven. I personally think this guy, I have him number 2 on my big board. I think he's going to be the real deal. We'll see what shakes out on draft day. Speed always plays a factor in the XCFL drafts, but I have this guy rated a little bit above Taj Beverly, but I think this is a really good wide receiver class.
That's a nice segue. We go to 3 overall in our second wide receiver, and we'll let Nick take this one. He has some familiarity with deep threats, so we'll go to Ole Miss with Taj Beverly.
Taj Beverly, man, this guy, I will not be surprised to see him go number 1 overall if it's not a quarterback needy team. You got 21-year-old deep threat, 5'9", 175. He grades out well with route running. He has his catching traffic on point. Ole Miss, so he played SEC football. He's getting locked up by some of those, some of the best DBs in the country. I think this guy's going to get his name called either first or second in the draft. I think he will be the number 1 receiver taken, as long as he doesn't blow his 40 at his pro day and his combine. But I mean, the son of what, an Olympian. I mean, this guy he's got track star in his blood, man. This is going to be one of those 4.32 40-yard dashes that I think is going to kind of send everybody into a little draft day tizzy, especially with the new rule that anyone can trade in the top 10 one time. So it'll be interesting to see who uses their one time pass to go for Taj Beverly, because I think he's going to be highly targeted by a lot of teams.
Yeah, this guy basically, since I won't probably have a chance to grab him, he's going to be everything Deontay Capers was supposed to be. No, I'll leave it my bitterness there, and we'll go to the third wide receiver, part of that prolific Ohio offense.
Yeah.
If you want to cover Nathan Cheek, Higgy.
Yeah, Nathan Cheek, big tall guy, big physical receiver, pretty decent hands. Again, another guy from Ohio. I mean, they're just putting out all kinds of talent this year.
They had to have won the MAC, man. There's no doubt they won the MAC.
You never know about that MAC.
Yeah, that's true.
Cheek kind of reminds me of my boy Cortland Sutton. I mean, he's a bigger guy, good spec catch, good hands, really good release. 22 years old. I think he's definitely going to go first round, and he may not be the speedy guy, but he's going to be a good target.
Back to Robert with our fourth wide receiver, who it comes in at 15th of the green wave here. We have Jay Wallace.
Yeah, I had Jay. He graded out 15th overall, 6'3", 200-pounder. He is 23 years old. Goes to Tulane, but the guy, he's showing that deep threat. So it's going to be really curious to see what kind of 40 time we get out of him. Good as far as his routes overall. His medium routes actually graded out a little bit better than his deep routes, but I think this guy could be a good asset to someone.
Back to Nick with our fifth receiver and our last skill position player inside the top 20, Rennell McFarland of Mount Union.
Dude, McFarland, man, this is another guy that shouldn't go in the first round and is going to go super high in the first round as long as he runs a nice 40-yard dash. Interesting note, man, Mount Union's put Pierre Garçon and Cecil Shorts both into the NFL. So we got a little bit of little Mount Union trivia for you there. I guess I should ask the question. I'll let you guys guess, but I gave you the answers. McFarland, though, is nice. He's a little bit taller, and those deep threats, it's hard to find him 6 feet and above. And so he comes in at 6'1", 208 pounds. He's pretty solid. Great route runner. Probably the best route runner of the bunch that we've talked about, with his 3 best skills being short, medium, and deep route running. So I think this is a guy people will target. He might not be the burner that Beverly and Jay Wallace are going to be, but I think it's worth noting that if he's got some decent speed and you might be able to get a couple upgrades here and there, he could be your guy because he'll have the good route running and the speed combo there. So
okay, and to our sixth wide receiver, we'll cover. I think I went down to like 10 real quick. on receiver. It's obviously going to be the deepest. Be all over the first round. South Carolina State's Bo Sharpton here. If you want to go over him, Higgy.
Yeah, Bo Sharpton. I'm not sure this guy, is going to make it into as a first round pick, but he also has, all of his. He's going to be right up there, the best of them with the route running. So he's going to be a good, solid second round wide receiver. I think you're going to see him go in the second round. A little smaller guy, but he'll be one of the better slot receivers in the draft.
And then at 7 from the Idaho Vandals, we got Jeremiah Knighton. Rob.
Yeah, Jeremiah, he's a big, tall guy. Did not go to college right off the bat. Did a little prior service stuff. So when he joined, that kind of explains why he's 24 years old. But he's a good route runner, big, tall, lanky guy, 218 pounds. Has done a great job for Idaho. Has got a lot of people looking at him, talking about him. He's definitely going to get drafted, probably going to get drafted late second round, if I was guessing. Maybe falls into the first part of the third round, but I think he's probably going to end up going late second round. But good looking prospect.
That's where I would have him too. I think he's going to be a little bit of a steal because his 40 time, what we anticipate, is going to keep him down there in the later rounds. Up next, the 8th wide receiver from SMU, Perry Hightower. Nick?
Perry Hightower, man, 6'2", 230. So he is a really solid, solidly well built, 230 for a receiver. But he's a bruiser, man. This is the guy that's going to go across the middle, make all the tough catches for you. He's not the fastest. He's not, the most athletic, but he's going to do all the dirty work. Think of like a Hines Ward type player. And I think this is a guy you want on your football team, man. He is going to be a fun player to watch, and he might slide. I don't know if people are going to take him in the second round because they tend to take the flyers on the fast guys. But I think he's going to be a pleasant surprise for somebody who takes him and he comes up having a pretty good XCFL career.
And then number 9 on here because a 21-year-old deep threat and also from Virginia Tech out there. We have Travion Prather.
It's a sweet name.
Higgy?
Yeah, like Nick said, really cool name. And this guy could be the sleeper of all the wide receivers. He's not going to go as high as some of these other deep threats. Depending on his 40 time, I think he could sneak into the first round, but he could be the third or fourth deep threat taken, and could end up being in a season or two the best out of the bunch. A little shorter, but he's got a really good deep route and really good hands for a speedy guy. So keep your eye out for Prather.
I'd agree with that. Jack Tyler, in his time at Virginia Tech, said Prather's the guy any team that gets him is going to love, but he also said it's a little too short for my blood, and he's not going to be making it to the Redskins. And then number 10, played with your boy out there, Justin Herbert. We got JT Himes from Oregon.
Dude, JT Himes is the man. He did a little bit of everything for, a prototypical Oregon receiver. He gets the jet sweeps. He catches the screen passes, the bubble routes. He's a do-it-all guy. Kind of flew under the radar, but he's only 21 years old, so he's getting out of college early. He must have got some advice from his agent that he's going to get picked pretty high. And I think this is somebody who can really help your football team, and that's somebody you're going to get late in the draft probably, and hopefully he makes you look like a genius, because it really all comes down to team fit and coaching style, where a lot of these receivers end up. So who's going to be most successful, obviously.
What's crazy is the ESPN rankings have him undrafted, not even going to make it in the 7th round.
Yeah.
But I think being 21, 6'1", B- release, a deep threat, I think he's going to find a home probably before the 5th round.
All it takes is one of those little what are they called? Little weekly challenges, and he might be a superstar. So.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
So if he goes to the Browns, he'll get one of those for sure.
Yeah.
At tight end, we got Damon Mann. Out of the two we have, neither of them cracked the top 20, but Damon Mann and Jimmy Baker cracked the list. So if you want to go over Damon Mann real quick, Rob.
Yeah. Overall tight end class in this first draft is there's nobody that really jumps out. Damon Mann from California, he's a blocking tight end, 263 pound, 6'2". So I mean, he's pretty much going to be somebody that's just going to kind of work on helping your running game out. He can catch. He's probably not going to do a whole lot of catching. He's probably going to do a lot of inside goal line, add-him-in type of blocking. Don't know how much of a need people in the XCFL are going to have for a tight end like that, because you're not going to be able to split him out and try to run verticals or anything like that with him. So
I think he could make a great fullback at 6'2", 260, man. He could make a really nice fullback for you.
He'd be a nice piece because, like you said, you wouldn't have to roster a fullback, and then you're tight end too for those two tight end sets. Like he's obviously gonna have real nice blocking. So, but when he's out there, like he said, the defense is obviously not gonna key on him at all. Not worried about what he's doing.
I'm hot routing my DB away from him and doubling somebody else.
just send another guy. I think you'd be. Yep. And then our probably the best hands, we had Jimmy Baker from Penn. If you want to cover him real quick, Higgy.
Yeah, Jimmy Baker, real big guy. He's got good hands, but like we've already said, it is going to be a down year for tight ends. But I do believe, mark my words, I don't think there will be a tight end go in the first 3 rounds. I think you could see a guy be able to pick up a decent tight end in a later round where maybe he gets a steal, and Jimmy Baker could be one of the top 2 guys.
I could see Baker going in the third or late
depends
second.
On his 40. Depends on his 40.
It will. And then so for tackles.
Give me them.
None of them cracked the top 20, and we'll just cover tackles to try to keep video link down. We got the number 1, Eddie Palmer from UCLA.
This guy is very well coached. He is learning under the great Chip Kelly at UCLA. This is a big league-wide shout-out that we need to see these guys go in the top 10. Eddie Palmer and Alex Benedict are the best offensive linemen we've ever seen in this league, and they need to go as early as possible because O-line absolutely matters, and I want the other good players to fall to me. So everybody needs to go draft these 2 guys right away.
We'll just skip over the rest of the tackles. Actually, keep linked down. So we'll go to defensive ends here, and let me check the list. Up first, we have Stephen Wilds from Florida State. Rob.
All right. Stephen Wilds. I like this guy a lot. I've got him number 12 on my big board. And FYI, I did have Eddie Palmer 14th on my big board, so I did have some O-line.
Eddie.
20. But Stephen Wilds, 310 pounds, 6'4". He is a run stopper. Really good hit power. Good block shed. This guy right here, I am hoping to see get a decent 40 time, just to kind of add to what I think is a good looking end to build off of. So I'm really high on this guy. I had him ranked 12.
Oh, I actually made a mistake. You actually have 7 overall. Your first defensive end. We got Mason Walter. Nick.
So he's like the exact opposite of Wilds, where Wilds is the big kind of can play a 3-4 defensive end spot or a 4-3 defensive tackle. Mason Walter is going to be at 6'1", 244. James Harrison like defensive end, 3-4 outside linebacker type player. If he puts up a good 40, like Robert had him ranked 7, this guy could easily climb into the top 5. We know all about the pass rush this Madden and how important it is. A good pass rush can really make up for your secondary slacking. So I think Walter, it's nice that the top 2 defensive ends are completely opposite of each other. So, you kind of go with whatever your team style, I guess, is. So, but both of their name called early.
Do you guys think it's individual skill of the player to get to the quarterback, or more of a scheme thing in this Madden?
I think you have to send. I think it's a lot of scheme because I think it's timely blitzes and mixing up where you're coming from. if you're controlling the same guy the entire time, I think unless it's Khalil Mack or somebody just. But I don't know. I think it's a lot more scheme and timing of when you're sending extra guys and where you're sending them from.
Yeah, I would say scheme.
And then our third defensive end, the last to crack the top 20, we have Carlos Smith from Rutgers. Higgy?
Yeah, Carlos Smith, real big guy at 6'5", 301 pounds. He's going to be a real good, strong guy coming off the end. He's going to go in the top 10. I mean, with the way that this, the pass rush has been, and so far in our first season here, there's going to be some guys reach a little bit, and this guy's going to go in the top 10. And I think he could be real successful in the XFL.
And then kind of one step down from those guys, kind of tier 2, if you will, you have the left end Lucas Jennings out of Rutgers. Rob?
2 Rutgers guys.
Yeah, Rutgers. It's funny to see them have a couple like that, but he's 6'4". He's 301 pounds. He's a run stopper. Typically on the left side. Good pursuit. Again, he's got good block shedding. It's going to be interesting to see what happens at edge rusher. I could see him going late first round. I could see him falling into the second round. I did not have him in my top 20, but he's kind of one of those bubble players that a lot's going to depend on his combine score.
Let me ask you this, Nick, at 6'4", 300 pounds with a B+ block shed, would this be a guy you're willing to take and sub in there at like DT2?
Yep. So this is with our rules, the rule changes now. A guy like him, you could easily move over to D tackle. I mean, a lot of these DNs that are on here are all 6'4", 300 pounds. So this is a very, powerful DN class that are probably going to be 3-4 guys, or like we said, 4-3 playing inside a defensive tackle. So, a lot of these guys we talked about, other than Mason Walter, really, they're all big fellas. So,
yeah.
And from there, we'll go to the stud defensive tackle out of Arizona State, cracks the top 10 on Rob's big board. We got Leroy McCarthy. Higgy?
Yeah, Leroy McCarthy was an absolute stud at Arizona State, and another big guy, 6'3", 307. Could be a possible X factor. He's only 21 years old, and this guy, I mean, I know he's high up on my list. Denver Broncos, we're in dire need of a deep tackle, so this guy is going to be a stud, and I'm real excited to see what he turns out to be.
Yeah, this guy's going to be a monster. My only concern is I'm pretty sure it was tweeted out that the offensive lineman Ethan Lockhart dominated him early in the season. Or did I read that backwards? Did he dominate?
I think you're right the first time around.
So that kind of scares me. But other than that, 21, stud. What'd you have on him, Nick?
I think defensive tackles are really, really important this Madden more than any others, because with the way you can get pass rush on the outside, it makes it, if you can, we're forcing guys to step up into the pocket, and if you can eliminate any pocket with an Aaron Donald type player, it really makes it hard to escape the pocket for pretty much anybody, and you're going to give them that offense a lot of headaches. So I think defensive tackle really gets overlooked a lot, but I think this is the Madden. We're going to see some big sack numbers from defensive tackles.
And then number 2 on our list, I'll leave this one to you, Nick, because he's cousin of XCFL legend Kevin Basie. We got Laney Basie from Ole Miss up there.
Another guy, I mean, a big boy, 6'6", 305. This is your run stopping 3-4. Think Vince Wilfork type New England Patriot defensive tackle. I mean, big old boy. He's your run stopper, so he's not a pass rushing specialist, but he's going to clog up the middle. We saw him go against some elite running backs while playing at Ole Miss, who put out a lot of XCFL talent this draft class as well. But when you're going against the Bama offensive lines, the LSU, those type of guys, and you still come out being ranked this high, it means you have some good film. And I think this is somebody who's going to make a big time name for himself in our league.
Our final defensive tackle we'll send to Rob, Daryl Daly from Florida.
Yeah, Daryl Daly, he's one of the there was 3 big monsters, defensive tackles in this draft. Basie, who he just talked about, at 6'6". Darryl is 6'7", and then there's that Boro out of Michigan State that was a 6'7" guy as well. This guy plays at Florida. Very athletic for 6'7", 309 pounds. Run stopper primarily. He's got good pursuit. I think that these D tackles and with the theme that everybody's going to, I think he's going to be very disruptive. So I definitely think he'll be a late first rounder, maybe early second rounder, but he's pretty talented.
And from there, we'll go back to outside edge rushers. There we got number 8 on your big board, Angelo Ellington out of Mississippi Valley State. If you want to take that one, Higgy.
Yeah, Ellington's a big guy, 6'4", 252, great speed rusher. He's got a good finesse move. He's gonna be a great asset in the pass rush. I don't necessarily think that I would agree with him being my top rated outside linebacker, but he's definitely in the top 2 or 3 on what my list would be. I think he's definitely going to go mid to late first round.
I'd agree with you there. Obviously, my bias wouldn't let me take anybody other than my number 1, Tim Brock from Oklahoma State. You have on 11th on your big board, Rob.
Yeah, Timmy, 21 years old, really great tackler, 240 pounds, 6'1". I gave the edge to Angelo because of his 6'4" frame, and he's just a little bit more seasoned. But Tim Brock's going to be a good one. He's going to be a first-round pick, and linebackers traditionally in the XCFL drafts go pretty high, so he's going to go pretty quickly, and he's going to be a good player for somebody for a long time.
All right, real quick, here we go. Angelo Ellington, Mississippi Valley State. Who's the most famous player to come out of Mississippi Valley State?
I think Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice. There we go. Good. I did the trivia this time instead of telling you the answer.
Nice.
You know. Yeah, I got it right that time.
I'm taking Tim Brock, and obviously, if you really need an outside linebacker, you're concerned he's not gonna have a finesse or power move. So worst case scenario, he comes in with what you see, and he's just a solid tackler, and I just move him inside. I think would be the way to go.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Then on the right side, I threw 2 on there. They didn't do so great on the ESPN rankings. We got Zaire Brackens out of OU. Nick?
Yeah, Brackens, he's not the first 2 guys were pass rushers we talked about. Brackens is not the 3-4 outside linebacker. He's your 4-3 prototypical outside linebacker. The only knock on him, which the reason he's not getting that first round grade, is the zone, his man and zone coverage. He really struggles in coverage. He's a freak athlete, 5'11", 240, so he's kind of your Jabril Peppers type hybrid linebacker, a little heavier, but he can lay a boom. The coverage is his weak point. Played at Oklahoma. It's Big 12 football. What do you expect, man? You're not going to see much defense, so. But that's your guy there.
And then our final outside linebacker, Ronald Barker from Penn State. Higgy?
Yeah, Ron Parker, 5'11", 230, real small guy. He's going to go late because of the need for linebacker, like Robert's already said. I think you're going to see him probably go a little higher than he should and probably squeak into the second round. He's 23, which I don't really like. I'd prefer him to be a little younger, at least 22. But he's going to be a solid role player, in my opinion. I don't think we're going to see anything super great out of Ronald.
Yeah, it's going to be slim pickings. If you miss out on these top guys on a linebacker, it's going to get tough quick. And then we'll go inside, middle linebacker, who comes in at 6 on your big board, Dalton Slauson out of OU. Rob?
Yeah, big Dalton Slauson fan. This guy.
What a linebacker name, man! What a linebacker name.
He's got everything. I mean, in high school, he went to Colony High School, broke all of Bobby Wagner's records there. Went on to Oklahoma, broke all the records that Daryl Hunt had set there. I mean, the guy, he does nothing but make play after play, and he's a tackling machine. He finds his way in, and he racks them up. This guy will go probably top 5. I had him ranked at number 6 because there's a couple really elite quarterbacks and wide receivers, but This guy's going to be a really good one.
I'm gonna hop in here real quick and just make a statement.
Oh,
I think Dalton Slauson should be top 5, but I think he could end up being the steal of the draft, and because he won't end up in the top 5 because of the need for quarterback and need for speed in the XFL. I say you're going to see him go around 6 or 7 and be the steal of the draft.
If he puts up a combine number, a
Yeah.
good combine score, though, this guy,
Well, top
he
3.
will fly. Yeah, he will fly up draft boards and probably be the 3rd guy taken. Because that's the hit power, dude. He is a machine. So
Yeah, he's going to be a monster.
Yeah, we know Brackett wants him with that A-
Yeah.
power.
Yeah, he's already a Los Angeles Charger.
I put up this guy. He comes in with a mid 5th round grade. Emmanuel Franklin out of Memphis. Nick.
Yeah, he's your small. 6'1", 233 out of Memphis. Doesn't get much hype, but he's your, like I talked with the last guy. He's the Jabril Peppers type, Dion Buchanan type player where he's your coverage linebacker. If you're gonna sub him in on 3rd down, 2nd and longs, whatever it is, he's gonna have nice speed. You don't see a lot of big time football players come out of Memphis, but this guy, 22 years old, like I said, only 233 pounds. But the guy can hit. He is a missile out there. So you got to always know where this guy is on the football field. And I think we will see him taken probably early 2nd round, maybe late 1st round if he puts up a decent combine score. But if he performs like he's capable of, this guy could fly up draft boards come draft day.
Yeah, he's a boomer bust pick. You get that B hip power, B minus tackle, 22,
Yep.
and his arcs pass coverage. So you're hoping he's got pretty decent zone.
Yeah,
so it's just
yep.
You're gonna be stoked or you're gonna be mad when you see what
Yep.
he's about. And then 3rd, we have Kevin Hollister, early 3rd round grade. Rob.
Yeah, as far as Hollister goes, Delaware State, another one of those real small schools in this draft. 22 years old. He's, Kevin's been pretty much an above average athlete at a real small school. Got a lot of attention. Good hitter. Smart. He's a smart linebacker. I think he's going to be probably a 2nd round pick, late 2nd round pick. Kind of curious to see what his combine grades out as far as his strength and maybe some of his other measurables, speed, but he good prospect.
And then our final linebacker, and I think 2 through 4, obviously Slauson's going first no matter what 40, but 2 through 4 is all going to be decided by their 40 time. And we got William Howard out of UNLV. Iggy?
Yeah, William Howard's definitely the lowest out of the bunch. He's a smaller guy like Hollister. Good pass coverage guy. He's a good tackler. Personally, I don't think he's the 4th. I actually have Antoine Richards above him on my board. But he's 22 years old. He's going to be probably a late 3rd, early 4th round pick because I do think you're going to see a guy like Antoine Richards go before he does.
And then from there, let's jump into DBs, kind of a hot topic right now to whereas if they matter or not. Number 1 corner, we have Marquise Williams from University of Washington. Rob?
Yeah, Marquise Williams. I put a little piece out about him as far as, obviously his measurable, 6'2", 211 pounds, primarily a zone, but he's got the ability overall. I had him number 9 on my big board. Really strong work ethic. This kid is going to he's going to do the little things, and that's what's going to really set him apart in this class, and I think that's what's going to really help him out. He focuses really hard on his technique so that on game day he, can get all the plays right. And I talked about it in his article. I kind of mentioned him in the same sentence as Keem Spriggs. Obviously, that's a heck of a compliment. That's a heck of a compliment to make. So lots to be determined, but the future's pretty bright for him.
Washington has put out, Desmond Trufant, Marcus Peters, Kevin King, Sidney Jones, a ton of DBs that are, and this guy fits the mold at 6'2", 211. This guy could be something special.
All right, Nick.
Briggs is wild though.
He comes in at 13. We got Lincoln Fox out of Penn State, 13 overall.
Lincoln Fox at 13, the corner from Penn State. Where is he? How come he's not on my thing? Oh, there he is. Gotcha. Not as big as the as Marquise Williams, only 5'9", 191. He's great in man coverage, but he definitely struggles in zone coverage. Smaller guy. You hope to see him put up a decent 40 to keep his name high up there in the draft. That first round, make some money for him. But I obviously I take Marquise Williams well before I even think about taking this guy. So he's definitely, arguably he might not even be the second best corner. I don't have him as my number 2 guy, but he'll hear his name called early on.
And we'll go to our third ranked corner, Orlando Goodson from Notre Dame. Higgy.
Orlando Goodson, 5'10", 213. This smaller guy. One of the better zone coverage defenders in the draft. I think this could be, depending on people's view of cornerback, like you mentioned earlier, the argument whether they matter or not. I personally believe they do, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of stats that really jump out to me on these guys. I think he's kind of down my list a little bit because of his height, and it really depends on what the combine grades are. I think where these guys go, you're going to see the faster guys go early.
For sure.
I've probably got him at a mid-second round pick.
And number 4, Mississippi State. Rob?
Yeah, Teddy Amos, man coverage guy. I mean, he's 5'11", 190 pounds, 21 years old. Really curious to see combine runs for these guys, because you start getting a bunch of burners and these corners are going to start flying up the draft board pretty quick. So with him being a man-to-man, there's a chance he might run a little bit quicker. So I'm kind of curious to see on him what happens.
That brings number 5, Khalil Noel. Nick?
North Dakota State, man, finally seeing the little college climb in here. We saw too many big colleges in a row.
Bro, any college that produces Carson Wentz is big time.
Yeah, you're right. But he's your prototypical, he's got decent size, 5'10", 213, but he is your press coverage corner. He's going to get up in the DB's or the wide receiver's face, make his job difficult. He's going to help you out in the run game. He did play at North Dakota State, so he's the guy that needs to come out and put up a good combine score. If he wants to get his name up there with these other guys we talked about who have kind of already proven themselves at these big Division I universities. But I think we can see, Noel's got a shot just because he always plays with that chip on his shoulder. He's a physical guy. He's older at 23, but I still think he's going to hear his name called probably, mid-second round, because as you're seeing in the XCFL, the pass, it is a very pass-happy league right now. So guys are looking for studs all over the place.
Number 6 in our last 2 here, from a school you'd expect to see produce a corner, we have Kyle Watson from Michigan. Higgy?
Yeah, Kyle Watson is 5'10", 184 pounds, and this is a guy that if he comes out and he puts up a good 40 time, he's going to just skyrocket up boards. He's one of the more balanced in his coverage. We got him listed as a man-to-man, but he's just as good as zone. He's got pretty good awareness. And if he comes out and puts a good 40 up, I think we could see him go as early as late first to early second.
Yep, 21-year-old too. And he played at a big university, so that's absolutely, we could see this guy go past a lot of the guys we just talked about.
And our final corner, who is way down here on the ESPN, but he's actually a stud, just hidden down there, is Jalen Highsmith. Rob?
Yeah, Jalen Highsmith. I think the reason why ESPN graded him a little bit higher, he brings some punt return, kick return ability to him as well. I mean, he's got some room to improve on man and zone coverage, but he's 21 years old, 6'1", 185 pounds. I mean, put him on a team and let him learn behind some veterans, and this guy could develop real quickly for you. Maybe he starts out in the nickel, uses some of his speed on punt return and kick returns, and just kind of see what happens from there.
if this guy runs a nice 40, I might take him first. 21,
6'1",
6'1",
yeah.
and I'll test out that B- catching and see if he can actually get some interceptions.
Yeah.
And then a couple safeties we got 3 here. We have a 16 overall on your big board, Rob. We have a Mateo Estrada from Arizona State. Nick.
Yeah, Estrada's probably the best of the bunch. We're going to see it at safety. Good size, 6 foot tall, 205 pounds, so he's pretty solid. He's your coverage safety, man. He played at Arizona State in the past Happy Pac-12, so he was tested very often. I mean, it all depends. This guy's going to pack a punch with his hits. He's a leader. Comes in at 22 years old, so he played a couple seasons at school. I think we're going to see him go early. Think of your Perry Pennell type player that went 16ish overall in the first draft of last cycle. But I think Estrada's going to find a nice little home somewhere and be a heavy contributor right away.
And then on the strong safety side of the board, we have 2 guys we really like. We got Tyler McNeil from Michigan. Higgy.
Tyler McNeil, I mean, 6'2", 208 pounds. Somebody please keep Brackett away from this guy because he is a hit power monster. This guy, I mean, he's going to cause some turnovers. I think he's right under Estrada. If not, he could jump in front of him. Hit power, fumble is a big thing in the XFL. There's been a lot of fumbles. And this guy is going to be able to force the turnover. So I think we could see him be the first safety taken.
That's a good point.
Another guy from Michigan. So
that's a good point, though, you make there. We're always so quick to say, okay, if this guy has speed, I'm going to draft him because he just has speed. Or this guy, hit power is going to be something I think a lot of people are going to look at because of how crazy the fumbling is in this game. I think we're going to see some guys take a chance, even if the guy stinks at zone coverage. Thinks that we're going to see a guy with 87 hit power get drafted early on, so we can light some dudes up and help you get the ball back.
I think they kind of patched the fumbling, but now hit power's biggest play is so many forced incomplete passes because unless your guy has a high catching traffic and he's getting smoked over the middle trying to catch that slant, like it's done, like he's not catching that. And then,
especially 6'2".
Our final guy on the board. What's that?
I was just gonna say, look for him to go early. He's 21 years old, hits hard, and he's good in zone coverage. So McNeil's gonna be top guy.
6'2" as well. Our final guy, safety out of Texas, Raphael Xavier. Rob?
Yeah, Raphael, he's a smart safety. He's not as tall. Obviously, he's 5'10", 207 pounds. But the guy has got decent hit power. He's been known to make some big plays for Texas. But he's just a smart overall kid that's going to try to put himself in the best spot and make a play. Kind of reminds me like a Joey Poyer type, Jordan Poyer type of player. So we'll see what ends up. But he's going to be late second round at the worst case.
Okay, and with that, we'll pull up the standings on the screen here and kind of just project the top 5, and then we'll call it a night. So the Dolphins sitting there at 1-12, looking like first overall, or the Giants. Who would you guys think they're going to snag?
I think whoever it is going quarterback for sure. I don't think Daniel Jones is the answer, and I don't know if Josh Rosen.
Yeah,
he does have Goff. Oh, you're right, and I guess Rosen. Oh, maybe they're both going Taj Beverly.
So you think Beverly, and then who's the Georgia kid?
If it's me, I'm saying Beverly, and then Dalton Sloss in the middle linebacker.
Oh yeah, Air V would love that guy. We know he likes linebackers.
Those would be my top 2 position players if we weren't talking quarterback.
So if we followed that rabbit trail, it would be amazing because then you have the Bengals at 3, and you would figure they would love Dalton Decker.
Oh man, Double Nut would love the opportunity to get him. So that would be awesome for him.
Well, you can't have another Dalton go to Cincinnati, though, man.
There's a tweet about that today.
Oh no.
Then there was that would bring in Chiefs at 4, and who would you guys?
This is where it gets interesting because the Mahomes contract that looms over Sean's head, and I mean, if you're gonna throw interceptions with Patrick Mahomes, you might as well throw picks with somebody else. But I think with the Chiefs and the Cardinals, we could see an option of maybe potentially seeing a quarterback go off the board if it's Eli Pope or somebody else. But Higgy, where do you think the Chiefs go if they don't go quarterback?
I think you're going to see the Chiefs go
That Washington
defense.
kid, right?
Yeah, defense for sure, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He needs defensive help, and I think he's going to take one of those ends. Yeah,
I was going to say either the end or the corner from Washington, the tall dude.
Oh yeah,
Marquise Williams.
Marquise.
So we say he takes Mason Walter the end to get some pass rush going, and that rounds out our 5th team here. We got the Cardinals, and they'd be I think elated to take Pope from Auburn and move on from Kyler.
Yeah, he's not happy with Kyler Murray, and then Murray tore his Achilles, I believe. So that's something that you don't know how he's going to come back from that. He's a little dude, he relies a lot on that speed. It's not like he's your drop back prototypical passer. So if that'd be the third quarterback draft in the top 7 picks by the Cardinals in the last 3 years.
Dumpster fire of an organization.
Yeah.
Well, you get Rosen, you get Murray, then you bring in Eli Pope and see, just until one hits. It's like the Detroit Lions with wide receivers. You just keep drafting them until you pick one.
Who do you think is going to be the best player coming out of this draft overall, Rob?
Best player overall is going to be Dalton Decker. I think he's going to get the earliest opportunity, and I think he's going to – I still stand on I think he's going to be a superstar X factor. So with that being said, I'm taking him all the way.
Biggest steal of the draft, Nick?
Ooh, biggest steal of the draft.
Hard to say before we draft, but
I know. I think it's going to be obviously an offensive lineman. No, it's going to be. I think it's going to be Emmanuel Franklin, the coverage linebacker from Memphis. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people, turn some heads at the combine, and he's going to be a guy that we see go really early on because of his pass coverage ability.
Would you kind of compare him to Nathan Fry?
Yeah, there you go. He's an undersized, not as athletic guy, but I think if he, the way the middle of the field is wide open in this game, and if you can get a pass coverage linebacker to come in and help shut that down, your defense goes a long way.
Here we go, Higgy, your chance to throw shade. Who's going to be the biggest bust in the draft?
Oh,
biggest bust.
Based off where you're going to have to take him and what he's going to turn out to be.
Okay.
Probably one of those corners.
Yeah, I think you're right. I said it earlier. I don't think that the corners really look all that great. So I think you can see, Lincoln Fox, Teddy Amos, Kyle Watson, a couple of those man-to-man guys, depending on their combine scores, what they run, they're going to get drafted because of speed, thrown into the fire right away, and they're going to go early first round. And I think they're going to be big busts.
Nice. I like it. So we're going to end it there. Thanks, Rob, for coming on.
No problem.
Thanks, Nick.
Absolutely. Anytime.
And thanks, Higgy.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. And sorry this video got away from us a little bit. We got up to 53 minutes, but we got a lot of good stuff in there. So thanks, boys. And we'll see you next time.